Hello again. Hello again, and welcome back again to my channel. And today I will do the video that I'd actually intended to do yesterday, before I got that email confirming I'd been monetized, and decided to do a celebration of that instead. So yeah, this video is going to answer another question that I get asked pretty routinely, that being, who are my favorite X-Men? And in honor of me talking about awesome X-Men, I'm wearing my Jubilee t-shirt, which is an awesome design. I love this t-shirt. It's just such a great design. And she is someone I will be talking about today. And if anyone doesn't like Jubilee, I will fight you, because she's awesome. But my very favorite X-Man is Kate Pryde. It's kind of the obvious choice. Everyone's favorite character is either Wolverine or Kate Pryde. She's traditionally gone by Kitty, but a couple of years ago she decided to change her name to Kate, and her code name has traditionally been Shadowcat, but she hasn't actually used a code name in forever. Yeah, so I mean, she was always the boy that, or the girl. She was always the character that every teen boy wanted to date, and that most teen girls wanted to date as well, from what I've gathered. Yeah, she's cute, she's smart, she's funny. Her best friend is a dragon. Yeah, what's not to like about her? Back in the 80s, during the Claremont era, she was the audience surrogate. She was the newcomer that the audience could sort of see the X-Men through, which was which sort of started a trend. So most times there's always some newcomer to the X-Men, usually someone young, so that the audience can sort of relate to the team through that young character. Kate was the first one for that. Funnily enough, that's not actually where I sort of became familiar with her. I first encountered her in Excalibur, which was, just such a great series. And I sort of fell in love with her pretty quickly there, just because, again, being a young boy, as she was a young girl, and cute and funny and smart and sassy. So yeah, I mean, she's just a great character. She also happens to be a badass ninja. At one point, she worked as a bartender, so that was pretty cool. I don't think it lasted very long, but yeah, she was a bartender, so she knows her drinks, which is helpful now that she is a pirate. She is a hard drinking pirate, and honestly, her pirate persona at the moment, so much fun. She's just turned so chaotic lately, and she was always someone who tried to be responsible and to try to be mature, and now she just gets to be an absolutely wild young woman, and it's really fun to see her really let loose in a way that she's never really allowed herself to do before. So it's a great little development there. And yeah, I mean, Kate is just, she's a really good character. Albeit one who a lot of male writers have hooked up with characters they identify with in a way that's kind of weird and creepy. Warren Ellis being probably the creepiest, when he had her hook up with his sort of with his character Pete Wisdom. But I mean, there's also Jason Aaron hooking her up with Iceman, a character he's admitted that he identifies with. And I forget if Joss Whedon has said that he actually identified with Colossus or not, but obviously he had her get together with Colossus, which I have always disagreed with as a couple, just because they fell in love when she was 13 and he was 18, and that's creepy. That's not right. So I've always had a problem with that relationship, but whatever. And personally, I'm just hoping that they allow her to be bisexual, because she is absolutely bisexual. Um, my sincere hope is that in the upcoming volume of Marauders, they have Kate Pryde date Tempo, who's another awesome character who's joining that book. So that's my hope there. I'm kind of not really expecting it, though. So yeah, she's my favorite. Second favorite is Cyclops. I know a lot of people see Cyclops as boring. These people are wrong. He's not boring. He is a fantastic character with a lot of depth. He is always the responsible one. He just wants things to go okay. And I think that's why people find him boring, is because he is very responsible. Also, he has trouble with emotions, which is something that I very much identify with in him. But he tries. Cyclops tries, and that's important to remember. And give him a little bit of slack on that. He actually does have kind of a dry sense of humor, which I like. He's not usually the one making the outrageous jokes, and sometimes you're not even aware that he is making a joke, but he does have a sense of humor. Also, he is a legitimate badass. I mean, he can hold his own in a fight against Wolverine. He can. There's one issue in the early 90s, a story set in an issue of X-Men Unlimited, which is an anthology series. He fought a bunch of guys while with his eyes closed, while remembering each of his movements, which is just awesome. Like, it's just such a cool thing. He is a great fighter. Who can also blow shit up real good. I think it was Wolverine who once described Cyclops as having a nuclear bomb in his head. Because he can just boom. Cyclops has probably grown a little bit more popular in the past 20 years, as he's gotten a little bit edgier. His time, particularly in the past few years when he was a fugitive on the run, but he was always cool. The Cyclops has always been a cool character. Just overlooked because he didn't have as flashy a personality as a lot of other characters. He was a lot more reserved. But that's something that I identify with, was being reserved myself. Honestly, even in the 90s cartoon, I even loved him in the 90s cartoon, where everybody hated him. Everybody hates 90s cartoon Cyclops, and even I loved him. That said, he has done a couple of crap things. Time he left Maddie, that was crappy. Time he cheated on Jean, that was crappy. But even those are something that I do want to talk about in further depth at some later time. To sort of give some context for what happened with those. That's my second favorite. Third favorite is actually Karma, a character that tends to get forgotten a lot. Not a lot of people really pay much attention to her, which is a shame, because she's got so much potential. She's Vietnamese lesbian amputee who's the primary caregiver for her younger siblings. Um, she's a librarian, which, something that I very much identify with. Uh, Also makes her one of the few X-Men who's actually able to live in the real world because she has an education, an education beyond how to fight giant killer robots, which is the main thing that the Xavier School always seemed to teach. So she's actually got the ability to live on her own if she needs to. Uh, she also inherited a huge corporation, which was something. Um, Her power of possessing people, taking over their minds, it's creepy and it's unsettling, and it's never been really been used to its best storytelling potential. There have been some stories that have done really good things with it, mostly when it's been used as a way to get her into someone else's mind, to explore like a broken psyche. Legion being sort of the main one whose psyche she's gone into that way. But it's a creepy power. You know, just taking someone over completely so that they have no control over their actions. It'd be really cool to see that explored deeper. There is a really good story to be told there. There was also a really good story to be told with the fact that she had uh, absorbed her older brother's soul into her own, but that story didn't get told the way that it deserved to, which was such a shame. New Mutants Dead Souls that had so much potential to, like, it grabbed a story, like, it took a story that I so desperately wanted to see told, and then just told in a way that completely removed Karma from that story. It just didn't do what she deserved out of it. It is such a shame. But yeah, Karma. I really want to see Karma get more focus and get to be really the lead in her own story at some point. Another great character is Magic, Ilyana Rasputin, who has always been just wonderful. She is the definition of a sword lesbian, and she's got just this pure chaotic energy that just makes her so much fun whenever she's around. I love her dark sense of humor. Um, she got her character arc in the original New Mutants is one of the best character arcs that I've seen in a superhero comic. It was so good, and that's something that I'll talk about in another video because it deserves its own video. That video is also where I'll explain why she is absolutely a lesbian, not bisexual, not asexual, not anything. She is 100% a lesbian. I will talk about that in another video. And now she gets to be a scary teacher at Doctor Strange's School of Magic. And we don't really get to see enough of her being a scary teacher there, which is a shame, but yeah, she's always fun there. The one thing I will say is that Magic does need a better costume. I'm just not really a fan of her current costume. The hot pants and thigh high boots. It just looks weird to me. So it's just not something I'm a particular fan of. I'd love to see her get a new costume. There's also Storm, because duh. She's always been a queen. Even before she was Queen of Wakanda, she was a queen. She is absolutely 100% that bitch, and the most dramatic person in the Marvel Universe. And that includes the likes of Doctor Doom, and she is so amazingly dramatic. And it's so great. She is the queen of dramatic entrances and dramatic proclamations and just everything. And yeah, it takes a hell of a character to outdrama Doom, and she actually manages it. So, how can you not love her? She does need to be challenged more. Hopefully, Arakko, being Queen of Arakko, will allow her to be challenged more. Another awesome character, Danny Moonstar, who is an absolute badass. One of those characters whose powers only slow her down. Yeah, she managed to become a Valkyrie just by being really cool. She is a fantastic archer, sort of the X-Men answer to Hawkeye, but cooler. And she will absolutely wreck you. But she's also got that deep well of compassion, and she will fight death if she has to, in order to keep someone alive, which is, she has actually fought death to keep someone alive, until death convinced her that the person was in no position, no condition to stay alive, and she allowed death to take the person. But that's the kind of person that Danny is. She will literally fight death. So another character, one that I've recently been convinced to appreciate more, Feral of X-Force. She's a very underappreciated character, and she's done nothing wrong. Feral did nothing wrong, which is a good Twitter account to follow on Twitter. Daryl Ao, who's got a alt account where he posts specifically about X-Men stuff. Feral did nothing wrong. So, yeah, he's really won me over to her. I appreciate her a lot more than I used to. There's Boom Boom. Boom! She is just pure ed, and it's delightful, and anytime she shows up is a good time, And, so, also, Jubilee. For some reason, a lot of people don't like Jubilee. A lot of people call her useless, and those people are just wrong. They're stupid. They don't know what they're talking about. Jubilee is awesome. From the time she was introduced, she's had that just motor mouth, constant talking, stream of consciousness type of dialogue that was always so much fun to read. But she's also got an unswerving sense of compassion. She has, on at least 2 occasions, convinced Sentinels towards humanity, which is something. She convinced a Sentinel to save her life, to risk its own life to save her, which is really impressive. As for her power being useless, she has immense destructive power. She just doesn't want to hurt people. That's what it comes down to. She just doesn't want to hurt anyone, so she holds back in a huge way. She could blow someone's head up without any trouble. She can blow the roof off a place, and has. So her power is not useless. It's just that she holds back to not hurt anyone. And final character I'll talk about here, Maggot. Maggot's one of those characters who gets crapped on a lot for having a weird power, that's why I love him. He's got such a cool weird power. You know, he's got an external um, digestive system. So he's got these two slugs that eat anything. They'll eat anything. And then they'll go inside his body and feed him, and he'll get super strength from that. And it's a cool power. You know, like, people always make fun of the characters with cool powers, but those are so much more interesting than just, oh, he's got super strength. He can fly. Yippee. Like, it's... The common powers are so much less compelling, so much less fascinating than the weird-ass powers. And I wish we got more focus on the characters with weird-ass powers. They deserve so much more than just yet another character who can create fire or whatever, you know? But anyway, yeah, so those are some of my favorite X-Men. In terms of least favorites, I don't really have many least favorites. Silver Age Angel, before he had his wings cut off and became Archangel, he's the most useless X-Man ever. His whole thing was to not get caught, and he got caught all the time, and it's just, he was useless. But yeah, other than that, yeah, so I mean, there's not many least favorite X-Men. So that's and I prefer to talk about, I prefer to be positive when I talk about comics, so I'm probably not going to make any videos about my least favorite X-Men, or talk about least favorite X-Men, or least favorite X-Men stories, or anything like that. I prefer to talk about things that excite me when it comes to comics. And when it comes to most things, really. I like to talk about things that I enjoy. So, don't ask me about my favorite, or my least favorite X-Men, or at least my least favorite X-Men stories, or anything like that. I prefer to talk about my favorites. And, yeah, so that's it for this video. And I want to thank you again for watching my channel. I have now been monetized, if you haven't seen, so that's pretty awesome. It'll be a couple months before I get any paychecks from YouTube, but in the meantime, yeah, it's really cool. And so now whenever you watch me, you're making me money, which is thanks. It's great to just be able to make just a little bit extra spending money off something that is fun to do. So, thank you for watching this, and I will see you in another video, probably tomorrow. And have a great day.